Okay, let's unpack this. Today we're diving into Ronald Coase's really significant 1960 paper, The Problem of Social Cost.
Right. And this thing is huge. It's like the most cited law review article in modern American legal tradition. Just massive influence.
Exactly. Massive. Now, a lot of you probably know Coase for, well, the Coase theorem, right? The idea that private parties can sort out externalities, bargain efficiently, often without needing the government to step in.
That's the standard take, yeah. But here's the twist, and it's a big one. Coase himself apparently complained quite a bit that his main argument was, well, fundamentally misunderstood.
Misunderstood. How so? I mean, it seems pretty clear, the usual interpretation.
Well, that's what we're digging into. Our sources suggest there's this pretty radical core to what Coase was actually arguing, something that really pushed back hard against Adam Smith, Arthur Pigou, the whole free market tradition.
Okay, hang on. Are you saying Coase, the guy often seen as this champion of free markets, maybe even a bit libertarian, was actually setting things up for something closer to a state-run, centrally planned system?
Yeah.
That sounds completely backwards.
It feels backwards compared to the common view, absolutely. But the argument hinges on how he redefined concepts. He essentially treats private property as just government-issued rights.
Rights, not ownership.
Exactly. And he even frames the government itself as a kind of super firm. This really takes his ideas way outside the usual free market box we put him in.
Okay, let's connect that. Smith's whole system, relies on the free market, private property as the bedrock. His invisible hand, skeptical of government.
Right. Smith believed individuals pursuing their own interests generally benefit society more than state planning. Property rights were almost sacred for him, foundational.
So how does Coase challenge that foundation? Because that's a huge challenge.
Well, Coase pushes back on that traditional idea of property as absolute control. He argues what we call ownership is really just a bundle of rights. Yeah, and these rights aren't about owning a thing so much as having the right to do certain things. He even says, and this is pretty striking, the right to do something which has a harmful effect is also a factor of production.
Wow. Okay, so he's completely flipping the script on property. I always thought ownership meant, well, you own it. But for him, it's more like the government is leasing you permission to do specific things.
That's a good way to put it. It's a permission slip, almost.
That's the aha moment right there. And this connects to his critique of Pigou then. Pigou saw things like pollution externalities as market failures needing government fixes, like taxes.
Precisely. And Coase's criticism of Pigou, according to our sources, might be a bit of a smokescreen, a way to obscure his real target.
Which was?
Adam Smith's broader tradition. Coase didn't really disagree with Pigou's math. He said it was correct within its limits, that his issue was deeper. Coase seemed to think the problem wasn't just fixing market glitches, but that private property itself was the root cause of these problems.
Whoa, okay. Saying it was a deliberate smokescreen? That's quite a claim. What suggests that?
Well, the argument is in how he frames the entire problem around actions and rights, not ownership, leading away from simple fixes like taxes towards a total reallocation system.
So instead of just tweaking the market, Coase is suggesting a whole reorganization. And this is where the really radical part comes in.
Exactly. Because once property is just a right to perform actions granted by the government,
then the government becomes the ultimate decision maker, the ultimate owner, effectively, of all the factors of production.
This is where the super firm idea slots in. Coase saw the government as this unique entity able to direct how production factors are used through administrative decisions, basically skipping the market.
How so?
He points out the government can conscript or seize property or just decree that factors of production should only be used in such and such a way, direct command.
Right. So it's not just taxing the factory that pollutes. It's more like the government could literally tell the factory, stop making that, make this instead, or move your operations over here.
Yeah, much more direct control.
That's a massive leap from standard regulation. It's
right.
like thinking your smartphone is yours, but then realizing the phone company can actually dictate exactly which apps you can use or when. Coase is saying the government is that ultimate controller for all production rights.
That's the essence of the interpretation, yes.
So what does this all mean for you, listening? Our deep dive suggests Coase's work, well, it wasn't just about fine-tuning free markets. It looks more like,
by reframing property as this flexible bundle of rights, controlled ultimately by the state.
And seeing government as this powerful super firm doing direct allocation.
His analysis really points towards something much closer to a centrally planned system.
Which obviously completely challenges that common view of Coase's anti-government. It reveals a much more complex, maybe even provocative agenda, one that really diverges from Adam Smith.
It certainly makes you think.
It does. And it raises a pretty big question, doesn't it? If a concept as basic as property can be flipped like this, what could that mean down the road for private ownership? And just how involved the state gets in our economic lives? Something to mull over.